Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Kinera Celest Pandamon, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Kinera Audio for providing the Celest Pandamon for review. Do greatly appreciate it. Kinera, you rock. Alright, so the Kinera Celest Pandamon. This will set you back around $60 from your bank account, and it has 9 ohms of impedance, 100 decibels of sensitivity, and a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. It sports a square planar driver. Now this is version 2 from Kinera Audio. So this is a SPD 2.0. SPD. Anyways, the square planar driver, this is an upgraded version of the one that was inside the Gumio. The difference between the Pandamon and the Gumio is the Gumio also had a balanced armature. Alright, so you get a pretty basic box. You get a box with a little bit of a window to be able to see the IEMs in, and then you get some information that's extremely hard to read on the backside. A little bit of branding, nothing too exciting. On the inside, you're going to get a little cleaning tool with a brush on one end and a little pick on the other. And then you're going to get some paperwork. And you're going to get a Pandamon keychain if that's what interests you. And then you're going to get 2 bags of silicone tips. Now the silicone tips are okay. I actually did use the stock tip. The first one is this gray wide bore tips, a little bit more shallow. Did not use those. They did not fit my ears very well. I found that they kind of wobbled around in my ears, and I just didn't get a good seal no matter the size. And then the other tip is a little bit more of the average normal bulb style olive shape, and these have a red stem. These are the stock tips that I used, and I had no issues whatsoever with fit with those. And then you also get a little bit bag pouch that has a little bit, it's extremely hard to see on camera, Kinera Celest branding on it, and then you just squeeze it to open it and close. Then you get the Pandamons themselves. Now the Pandamon is a open back design. Took me by surprise. I did not know that they were going to be open back. And I also didn't know that they were going to be of this shape. Now they connect with 2-pin. Very nice cable, nice and light, very well controlled. And has a cinch that works very well. Metal split. And then it terminates to a 3.5. I like this cable. Works well. Ear hooks are very well controlled. And it holds everything in place. Has just enough tension to do its job. The only thing about this cable is it will twist up and tangle just a little bit, but it's not anything earth-shatteringly badly need to change the cable or anything like that. It's just a kind of a frustration at times. I like the look of the Pandamon. It has a little bit of the Pandamon design on it. Kind of adds a little fun feature. Normally I don't like designs, but this one doesn't bother me. You can kind of see it on camera. There is the open cutouts right there around the sides of the Pandamon, which are the open back part. Putting them in your ears, I find them to be extremely comfortable. For me, they just snug in and disappear. I have no issues whatsoever. Now, isolation of outside noises can be forgotten about here. These are open back, and they really don't block out much at all. And they do leak quite a bit of noise out, so people close by you will be able to hear what music you're listening to, and if you're listening to it too loud. So just beware of that. Comfort-wise, they're exceptional. I can wear them for hours on end with no problems whatsoever. In fact, I don't think I ever got discomfort while wearing these. You got a little bit of a smooth back. a nice angle to them, and then the nozzle has a good length to them, and so they just snug right in the ears and just disappear. They're rather easy to drive. I didn't have any issues with that either. I found that they were not very picky when it came to being driven. I found that most dongles were able to drive them. Even lower powered dongles like a periodic audio Rhodium were able to drive them and get a pleasurable sound. I enjoyed them also on the Heidi's XO, the Audio Engine DAC 3, the Hifi FC3, and the Hifi FC4. I found that all those dongles were very enjoyable and were my favorites of the dongles that I have in-house currently. And then also I found that the Sony NWA105 and the Hifi R5 Gen 2 powered them very well and sounded fantastic as well. Before we get into the sonic impressions of the Kinera Celest Pandamon, I'd like to thank my supporters through YouTube memberships and Patreon. Thank you very much for all that you donate to the channel. It is much appreciated. I know that it's difficult these times in the world, and financial situations vary. And so I very much appreciate you taking money out of your own daily, monthly, weekly budget to give back to a channel that you enjoy and that you would like to see grow into something better. So thank you very much for the funds that you provide. Is much appreciated. All funds do go back into the channel to help to produce the videos and also to obtain gear to review and to compare to, and also to produce it, you know, microphone stands, lights, and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much for all that you provide to the channel. Is much appreciated. If you're interested in becoming a supporter of the channel, please check out the links down below. There's all kinds of ways through Patreon, YouTube memberships, or through PayPal and Venmo if you want to give a one-time gift. Also, while you're down there checking out those links, don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be made aware of when the next Honest Audiophile video is available. Alright, so the Kinera Celest Pandamon. How do they sound? Now, as I mentioned, they're open back, and I wasn't expecting that. And then on top of that, they're planar, and so they're a very interesting and unique sound, especially for $60. The bass of the Pandamon really surprised me. It surprised me at how much it extended out, but yet how much it gave detail without being the most impactful. Now, it has impact, and it has a little bit of rumble and grumble in the sub bass, but at the same time, it's more about the details and about the quality rather than the quantity. It has just enough impact, just enough slam, enough punch, and enough rumble and grumble to keep the toes tapping, to keep it engaging. But they're not really going to be a hard-hitting, heavy, just get down there and just let it rip, you know, and just like make you just bob and weave with the bass. It's going to be more like, okay, this is keeping the tempo, this is keeping me on pace, this is doing what bass is supposed to do while being detailed. There's a lot of good tonality to the bass, and there's a lot of detail and a lot of resolution. It's a very fantastic, speedy, fast, snappy, and quick type of bass with just enough body weight and just enough impact to keep things going. The mids of the Pandamon are a very neutral, natural type of presentation with just a slight uptick in the upper mids region. So if you're sensitive to a rise between 2 and 4K, these may come across as just a little bit bright to you. I didn't find them that way. I found them to be very pleasant and very natural sounding. I found that the mids had a natural approach to the sound. The tonality was very good timbre to them. And I also found that the details were very good, especially for the price point. Resolution was very good, just like the bass. I do wish that they had just a little bit more body to them, just a little bit more note weight. But overall, I found that the mids were very pleasing and pleasant. Instruments were very balanced and cohesive as they went across. There was not any overly expressive aspects of it, especially in the upper mids, even though it is slightly more forward. But I did find that everything just flowed and just were very pleasing and engaging. And then the treble. The treble extends out very nicely. There is a little bit of a elevation around 8 to 10K, and then it kind of extends out but goes downward and into a more laid back type of sound. And it's a very natural sounding treble. I found that just like the mids, everything sounds neutralish and natural sounding, accurate tonality for instruments and vocalists, and everything just kind of flows. There's good air and good space in the treble, and everything just sounds kind of open, and it just has a pleasurable listen. I was very impressed with the overall sound of the Pandamon. From the bass to the mids to the treble, it all just kind of plays together. It's very cohesive, very balanced, and it stays in this natural, neutralish type of sound. It's a slightly warmer leaning sound signature with just enough sparkle and energy up top that is just engaging, and it's just a pleasure to listen to. I can't say enough about how much I enjoy the sound of the Pandamon. Soundstage. Soundstage of the Pandamon is a very natural experience. It has a accurate width to things when it comes to different sizes of venues. If it's a small, narrow venue, it's going to sound that way. If it's a wider, deeper venue, it's going to sound that way. It does a very good job of portraying the presentation of what you would imagine the venue to sound like. And then as far as depth, it's not the deepest, most deep soundstage, but you can look into a stage and things do not become clustered up and muddled and jumbled. Tracking and imaging is very good. Things move across the stage as they should, and it's pretty close to pinpoint. You can really go, it's right there, it's right there. And then at times you can go, okay, that's in front and that's behind. But at times that depth can get just a little bit smaller and you can't quite go as far back as you would like into the stage. But overall, I really do like the stage, which adds just a little bit more depth to things. Detail retrieval is really good for the price point. I found that I'm not really lacking anything. I wish that, I don't find myself wishing to have more. It gives me all that I need into the music. Resolution is very good, especially for the price point, and there's not any moments of glariness or harshness or shimmering or anything like that unless it's built into the track. Tone and timbre is very good. I really like the natural sound of the Pandamon. I find that instruments and vocalists sound realistic and natural, and that I can differentiate between different instruments and vocalists, and I can follow along when there's multiples of different types playing at the same time. So overall, I really do like the Pandamon a whole lot, and I find that it's a very impressive planar IEM. How does it compare to its sibling, the Gumio? So the Gumio has a lot more bass impact. It has good slam to it. It's a little bit more punchy, and also it has a whole lot more mids and treble. The Gumio is very much brighter and hotter sounding, and the mids are not as natural and accurate. I found that the Gumio is just not as pleasurable to listen to. It has a thinner note weight, and it's just not as refined and defined as the Pandamon is. I find that the Pandamon just sounds more natural and accurate and true, and the Gumio is just kind of a decent planar IEM, but it has those flaws and it becomes fatiguing. Taking a step upward, so going from $60 to somewhere around $100 is going to land you the TINHIFI P1 Max. Now the P1 Max has a little bit better tone and timbre, and it does have a little bit more note weight and density. It is a little bit thicker sounding, and it is a little bit better detailed and resolving. I find that also the P1 Max is a little bit more balanced and cohesive across the board, and extends out a little bit better. Has a little bit deeper of a soundstage, and is a more natural and neutral representation, whereas the Pandamon gives a little bit more of the fun side of things. So, the Kinera Celest Pandamon. Yeah, I like these. I like these a lot. And in fact, I'm going to say that these are the best planar IEMs that you can get that I have heard for under $100. These things are phenomenal, and I truly enjoy them and highly recommend them. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Also, there will be a link down below for where you can purchase the Kinera Celest Gumio. Also, there's other information down there regarding how you can contact channel, follow channel, support the channel. All that kind of stuff is down below, along with gear recommendations, music recommendations, and all kinds of other things down below. So check out the links. And finally, don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.